Well, good news for workers. It might be horrible news for business. 13 states and some local governments hiking the minimum wage for workers in 2014. This as the White House is pushing for a higher federal minimum wage. Vincent Vernuccio says hiking the wages are actually bad for businesses. They're certainly not sold that way, though, Vince.
Oh, no, listen, hiking the minimum wage, it doesn't mean more pay. It simply means less jobs. Survey after survey have shown that, you hike the minimum wage, it's supply and demand. You make things more expensive, you're going to get less of it. You're talking about low-skilled, entry-level workers, and guess what? You make their salaries more, then businesses are just say, all right, we're going to find something else. I mean, you look at McDonald's, they're already looking at having people order through iPads.
Here's the thing, though. You have a lot of people saying from a compassionate point of view, from a fair society point of view, we have to pay people a quote-unquote livable wage, something that they can pay their bills on. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah, but from compassion, you want these people to have jobs. You raise the minimum wage. I mean, the Heritage Foundation has looked at this, and James Shirk has crunched the numbers. He says it's going to cost almost 300,000 jobs a year. I mean, where are these people going to go? You need to start somewhere. I started working a couple blocks south of here, pushing carts around 34th Street for minimum wage, and you work your way up. Majority of people who start at minimum wage then get hikes after the first year, get pay hikes. So they got to start somewhere. Compassion is to let these people get experience and start at the bottom, work their way up.
Everyone involved on pushing this, the proponents of this, they know the data that you've recited. They've talked about. I mean, obviously they've done their research. So why is it being pushed? Why are we seeing so many states and local governments adopt this? I think the New Jersey Constitution is now, it's part, they've added it to the Constitution, a minimum wage that's adjusted for inflation.
Listen, I mean, it's catnip for Democrat politicians. It polls well. Almost half of Republicans support raising the minimum wage. It's about 70% or more of the American population. A recent survey just said they support raising the minimum wage. So on the surface, it's, hey, let's just magically raise wages for people, and they're going to get paid more. Nothing's going to happen. The problem is the truth doesn't exactly go along with that, and the numbers don't add up. So, yeah, it looks good to raise their wages, but unfortunately what you're going to do is actually start eliminating jobs.
You can prove this, though? In other words, I know that people talk about this theoretically. Are there places that this has been done where the minimum wage has been raised in a certain state or municipality, and a year later, 2 years later, there were fewer jobs? Yeah,
I mean, there are studies out there. The Employment Policies Institute, they're doing a big minimum wage watch, and they're showing that how when the minimum wage is raised, you're actually starting to lose jobs. You go back historically when the minimum wage was hiked way too much, that employment starts to go down, or at least starts to get stifled. We are in a fragile economy right now, and there's not a lot of jobs out there. The recovery is starting, but very slowly, and you really don't want to hamper that. You do it with the minimum wage, might put the brakes on.
From $7 to 15 is unreasonable, I think, for anyone. Although I think in Seattle they're going from $9 to $15, right? The Seattle airport.
That's right. And by the way, do you like the fine print in there? The voters just approved this thing, $15 an hour. It's called Citing, the area surrounding the Seattle airport. And guess what? If you're under a union contract, you're exempt. So the whole $15 an hour thing, that was really to get these non-unionized employers to the bargaining table. So Charles, you got to read the fine print on that one. I mean, you got to.
So that reminds me of Washington D.C. with the big box retailer thing. I mean, once you go through all the fine print, it was really, we want Walmart to pay up. I mean,
exactly.
So that's essentially the same sort of thing, and maybe force unionization on them in some form. But would you say $7 to $8, $9? I think President Obama wants $10. Should at least the needle start to move a little bit?
Well, what you're seeing, and a lot of the proponents of the minimum wage love this indexing. And what they want to do is they want to index it to the consumer price index, which, by the way, some people are saying inflation. It's not inflation. If you indexed it to inflation, the minimum wage would actually go down.
Exactly. A lot of people have found that out the hard way with cost of living adjustments in the wrong direction the last couple of years. I got to tell you, though, it's a big push. It's a big movement. Right now, I think the fairness argument is winning. And sadly, to your point, the logical argument will probably win down the road when people lose jobs, and net, it probably will be not a victory for everyone involved.
Yeah, that's right. Charles, thanks for having me on. You must be the hardest working guy at Fox. After every holiday, I see you on TV. Do you ever take a day off?
Never. See you, buddy. Well, more